HCN. HCN.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to Heroes Cable Network, HCN, where we promote culture, tradition, education, and development in our community. You're welcome to the Dot Stream Show. Here at the Dot Stream, we bring you stories about things that happens to members of our community. We share learnings and experiences with you and share you stories that can benefit your life and impact our community positively. Don't forget, if you ever interested in sharing your knowledge, your experience with the community, always reach out to us via email. Heroes Cable Network is all one word at gmail.com, or call us at 214-997-3383, or send us a text. If there's anything you feel like you have to benefit the community, don't feel held back. Reach out and we will bring you on. Here on today's show, we have a very, very, very special guest. He is a member of our community. His name goes by Kingsley Ampong Adu. Kingsley Ampong Adu is originally from Ghana, currently lives in Little M in the DFW Metroplex. He had some unfortunate incident happen to him, and on the Dot Stream today, we're going to be sharing that story with you, our listeners and viewers at home all across the globe. Hopefully, one or two people can benefit from what happened to him. And then at the same time, if you have any idea or any information as to what can help him in this current situation, please don't feel held back. Reach out to us and share that information. And also anybody that's feeling like supporting his plight under the current circumstances, feel free, reach out to us and we'll put you in contact. Thank you, Kingsley. And thank you for taking the time to be on the show. I know it's tough what happened to you, and let's just go right to it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Kingsley, just like you said, and I live in Little Elm. And I had a very, very horrible incident that happened on January 2nd, which was this year.
Just this 2020?
Just this 2020.
Okay.
You know, it was a year that so many people, or we all had very great expectations
Right.
as to how the new year should go, but I had a very horrible one. And what actually happened was that I had a phone. It was an iPhone 11 that I was supposed to send to my sister back home in Ghana.
Okay.
And when I had the phone, I think the day after, she called me that her boyfriend has gotten her some of the phone, so she needed the money to do something.
Right. Okay.
So, and the only thing that I could do was to resell the phone. So I put it on the app called 5 Miles. So in the morning, I put it over there, and in like 2 hours time, I had a guy who inboxed me that he wanted the phone. He wanted to buy the phone.
So this 5 Miles is an app where people put
Yes.
things to sell.
Yeah, it's just like Craigslist, but I
Gotcha.
think this is just
Gotcha.
like 5
Gotcha.
Miles,
5
where
Miles, okay.
like they do the trade within a specific number of miles. I mean, that's not too far.
Gotcha. 5 Miles.
So I had a message from this guy, and he said he wanted the phone, and it was a Friday. So I told him that what I could do, or what I can do, was I can meet him the next day, which was the Saturday, because at that time I had the weekends off. So he told me that he was traveling the next day. So if possible, we can meet that same day. It was around 6:30. So I said, okay, I can help him with that. So around 6 o'clock, I texted him that, hey, I just closed from work, so we can meet wherever or whatever. I mean, we can meet halfway. So he said, okay, we can meet in front of an apartment complex. And he gave me the address, because he said it's halfway from my job to his. So I agreed. So I set off, and I was just going. I mean, I was talking to my mom. I remember when I was going, And so when I got to that address, I called him that, hey, I'm here. I mean, where are you? And he said, oh, I'm coming. So I was just relaxed, sitting in the car. So I saw a guy coming, and he had a hoodie. You know, at that time, even if it's around 6:30, it was a little darker.
Gotcha.
Because it was around January 2nd, and it was cold.
Right.
So I saw him, and when he was coming, he had a hoodie on, but nothing clicked my mind because I thought that probably because it was cold, that is why he had on.
Right.
So, and when he talked to me, he sounded so legit. So he came and he was standing by like the driver's side of my car.
So did this guy ever introduce himself to you as?
No.
He just came and then you.
Yeah, I called him by the name that he was using on the app.
Oh, okay.
Because you know you have to set up your name and stuff.
Right.
So I called him by the name he was using on the app. So he came and he stood by the windows, the driver's side, and he told me that, can I have a look at the phone? Can I open it to see if it's genuine stuff?
So let me just take you back a little bit. So where were you guys meeting? What was this exact location?
It was in front of an apartment complex in Dallas.
Okay.
It was in Dallas around.
I mean, you don't have to get too specific. I just wanted to have a general.
Yeah, it was in Dallas.
And this was a place closer to your workplace?
Yes.
Okay.
It was.
Okay.
So he told me to give him the phone, and I said, okay, you can see it's brand new because everything was covered in like the plastic and everything.
Right.
So I told him that, you know, if you open it and you don't buy it and you give it back to me, I'm not gonna get the original price again.
Right.
Yeah. So you can see, and if you want me to give you that like the IMEI for you to check, you can do it. And he said, oh, okay. So I had lowered the window down, and he put his hand in his pocket. To me, I thought that he was bringing out the money because we had already settled on how much he was going to pay.
Okay.
Then all that I could see, what he just brought out a gun.
Oh.
And he took a first shot.
Whoa.
And it went straight. So I felt a sharp pain. Then I'm like, what happened? Then he said, give it to me. I was like, take it. So whilst he was saying that, his hoodie came off. And what I could hear was that, oh shit, excuse my language. Then, because I was panicking, I just wanted to drive off because, you know, I actually didn't know what was going to happen. So when I was changing my gear, I think instead of to put it on drive, it went on neutral.
In that moment, you can only imagine what's
and
going
I
through
just
your head.
couldn't know what to do.
Right.
I just didn't know. It felt like I wasn't even, I don't know what was happening. So I stepped on it and I kept stepping on it, and it wasn't moving. And I couldn't even think that probably the gear, because my mind was blank at that time. So all that I could see was that he opened the door and he held me by my shirt and he brought me out and he punched me. He punched me on the jaw, and he took another shot.
Oh.
But because I was so close to him, it didn't actually make a sound. It went like,
oh wow.
Because it was a close range. Then I just felt something dark in my eyes, and I was just going down because I was losing breath. And all I could see was he went at the back of the car. He went to the passenger front side, and he took whatever he had over there. I don't even remember what was over there. And he took it and off he went.
So he went with the phone.
He went with whatever he found over there. I think I had an iPad and I couldn't find. I can't find it too. So I'm supposing he took it too. So I was over there, and I think I blacked out. Then I don't know the number of minutes it took. I just woke up and I didn't know where I was, and all that I could realize was that I was running out of breath. I couldn't breathe, and I couldn't I was stuck between taking in air and bringing it out. So I tried getting up, and I took like 2 steps, and I realized I just couldn't. So I laid down.
Right.
and I could smell like somebody like barbecuing meat and some smoke, and I didn't know what it was coming from, so I was more confused. So when I was trying to move, I felt a sharp pain at this side of my belly. Then when I touched it, then I saw that there was blood, all over like my pants and stuff. So I remember like the first person who came in my mind was my mom.
Because those moments,
It was the first thing that came to my mom. I'm like, what is my mom gonna do?
Right.
Because I'm the only son of my mom.
Oh.
And at that time, I started seeing some colors, some strange colors, like beautiful ones, and you know, I knew that I was gonna die at that time, and I kept asking myself that I never knew if I was gonna die, it was gonna be through a gun crime.
Right.
Because I'm not the kind of person that anybody could predict that I could die through a gunshot.
Right.
So I just couldn't, and I just laid down, just waiting, and I knew I was gone. So I saw a car coming into the driveway in front of the apartment complex, and I don't know what happened. And I think he called.
So
the paramedics.
So this person found you.
He found me,
and then he ended up calling.
He ended up calling the 911.
Well, thank God for
and,
that.
The only thing that happened was I just woke up at the hospital, and I had all this on me, and I had some tubes running in my nose and so many things, and I just didn't know what to do.
So at what point did you realize you were at the hospital? Was it the same day, the following day?
I think it took some days.
It took some days.
I think it took some days. That is what I was told.
This is a very, very, very unfortunate incident that happened to this young man. Justice Nanaje, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm completely short of words, and I really, really want to say sorry for this incident. I cannot imagine, having to have the thought of wanting to help a sister back at home like every other African in the diaspora does. You want to do something to help, what happens back at home, and to kind of like face this kind of fate. It is unfortunate, but I do have some few questions.
Before you go to your questions, let's take a quick break. And you know what, Kingsley, thank you for taking the courage to come out on the show to tell a story. I know it's not easy, because as you're telling the story, you're reliving the moment, and we all know how that feels like. So thanks for the courage. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Just give us a few minutes. Thanks.
HCN. HCN.
Thank you. We're right back. Welcome back to the Dot Stream. And as always, here with my co-host, Nana J. And thank you once again, Kingsley, for gathering the courage to come out on the show to tell this story. So just before we went on break, Nana J, you were about to ask him.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to know, prior to the engagement with the guy, did he under any occasion, did he ever feel, okay, was the guy in agreement to the pricing? Was he forthcoming with the location? Did they have to struggle back and forth with, okay, can we meet here? Oh, can we meet at this time? Sometimes you gather some sort of suspicion from the person you are going to engage with when they are either not too sure about whether they are interested in the item, whether they are okay with the pricing, whether they are okay with the location and all that. So just wanted to ask him that, if he ever had that.
Yeah, one thing that I actually realized was the fact that such people are con artists. They would make their story seem legit, because I remember that prior to that, because I'm not somebody who would just meet the person, I mean, or anywhere. But the way he called me and he put up his story, because when I told him that, okay, let's do it the next day, which was a Saturday, he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I will do that. But I wish that if you can do this. So it wouldn't click to your mind that...
He had a lot of confidence.
Exactly.
Right.
He's like, okay, if you cannot do it this evening, we can do it tomorrow. But, you know, but I really wish we could do it today, and because I need to move. And he...
Sounded very legit.
Exactly.
Right. That's how they, you know, that's how those people get you.
Yes.
You know?
So I never had a doubt in my mind that, I mean, something like that could happen. And when it comes to the question with the price, when I gave him the price, he asked for a reduction, and I went with it. So, I mean, we had to negotiate on it. So it's not that I told him that, okay, if you can do it, stop, or something like that. It was, and he made the story so nice that I felt like, okay, it's okay, because right now I have no need of the phone. So if he wants it, it's okay. Let me just give it out. You know. So yeah, and it's you just cannot be careful enough.
Right. Yeah. I mean, these are situations that you just, you know, cannot predict.
Exactly.
You know, how could you possibly
I never thought.
Yeah. I mean, we're sorry for what happened. So let's go back to when you found yourself at the hospital, when you became aware of yourself. Take us from there and up until now, what has happened?
So when I woke up from the hospital, of course, I woke up at the ICU, and I had some family friends, Mr. Benjamin Forson and his family. They've been so very good to me. They were all around, and so I think I stayed there for some few hours, and they moved me to the regular ward. So over there, I never thought I was still going to survive, because I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. You know, there was a gunshot in the center of my stomach. There is one on the left. You know, it went through the left and it came through the. So the only thing I could do was just to lay on my back for the whole time, and I was ready to give up, honestly.
Right.
So after like 2 weeks, the doctor told me that, okay, I could start on some clear liquids, because they think that
they had some surgeries on you.
Yes.
And
so
what exactly was done to you?
When I was at the regular ward, the surgeon came and he told me that, you know, he is sorry, but at the same time he is glad that I was able to make it, because he himself, he never thought that I could make it. He tried his best. So I asked him what went wrong, and he said like the direction of the bullet, where it went through, it first broke my rib bone. The bullet, it hit the rib bone and it deflected it. And one thing I thank God for about the fact that if it wasn't for that, it might have gone through my heart, because the bone deflected it and it cracked it. And he said they had to take out my gallbladder. They had to take out like 70% of my liver. They had to take half of my stomach. They have to take my pancreas. They had to take out my colon, and so many. And it also shattered one of my kidney. So he's sorry that right now I have to live off insulin, because it's the pancreas that produces the insulin. So I have to be taking insulin shots, and I just have to, live like, modify my lifestyle right now.
So just overnight, your life completely changed from what it was to a new reality.
Yeah.
So, man, this is very tough to swallow. You know, you can only imagine what anybody. I mean, look, I must say that I really admire your courage. You've been here in this physical situation alone is a testament to how strong of a person you are mentally. So we thank God for that. From a criminal standpoint, I mean, what help have you received from the police as far as trying to track this person down?
I had the detective come in over there to the hospital, and they wanted to know if I could recognize the person who did that. But at that time when he came, I had some memory loss even as it stands now, because I can't actually recall some of the things. And I forgot to say something when I was over there. There was a night when they made me start eating, and I was over there and I woke up and I didn't feel okay in my belly. I told them, you know, I used to feel okay yesterday, but I don't feel okay today. So the doctor said, okay, let's open up the wound. And when they opened it up, there was a fistula, and everything I had eaten the previous day had turned into feces, and it had filled up my belly, the wound, because he said that there was a place they didn't see that the bullet went through, and it was in my intestine. So when I eat and it formed feces, it passed through over there, and the wound was filled. So I had a very serious infection. I remember that night my temperature went like 109. Wow. And I was dying because they had to take me back
to do another
because they had to do that. So it was, I think I really, before they came to take me, I prayed to God. I'm like, God, if this is it, you know, so it be. Right. So the detective came after that, and he brought some pictures, but I could not recall the face of the guy, and I didn't want to say it's this or that when it's not him, because I didn't want to put an innocent person in trouble, somebody who knew nothing about it. So I told him that I cannot actually recall, but this is the number the person called, and you know, this is the name on that app. So he said, okay, they were gonna track it using the number. And I think the next day he called me, he said he knows the person, they live in like this DeSoto or something, because that's what the IP address of wherever they were chatting from showed. And when it comes to like the finances, he in collaboration with the social worker, they applied for the Texas Crime Victims Compensation. So
and this is what again? The Texas Crime
Victims Compensation.
And what does that do specifically?
It's a program for victims of a crime. I mean, those who are innocent, that they can help with the hospital bills and stuff and other that. So they told me that, okay, they have taken up the case. So they covered for a fraction of the hospital bills. And they said that, okay, for the times that I'd been at the hospital, because I think at that time I had stayed at the hospital for like 6 weeks, for like a month or a month and 3 weeks, getting like that. So they were gonna give me some money to cover for that, for me to be able to pay for my rent and other stuff. So they sent me, I think like 4,000 of, I think it was 5,000 something dollars, to cover that. And they paid for a fraction of the hospital bills. And you know, the hospital bills is with all this surgery and all those, when it came out, they told me.
If you don't mind me asking, what is the total of the hospital bills?
The total was like $400,000. That is just for the hospital stay for those months. And so like the radiology part is out.
It's not. Oh my God.
I mean, it's a whole lot.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean,
the most important thing is you have your life.
Exactly. That is one thing, and I'm not. Even though I have to settle the bill, but I always wake up and I thank God that I still have my life.
Because the saying goes that if you have life,
you have everything. Because when the surgeon came and he's like, Kingsley, I want you to be my friend, and I asked him why. He's like, the bullet that went through your stomach was a ½ inch away from your spine, so you could have been crippled by now.
Wow.
So it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. Even though I'm going through this, it's a whole lot for me to be thankful for.
Yeah. I mean, we're thankful. We thank God for preserving your life. Nana J, what do you think?
Look, this is the worst story I've ever had to come pretty close to, and I just can't take it all in.
Right.
You know, looking at him right now, I don't know how he was. Obviously, I've never met him before, but he even gives me more hope.
Right.
That you cannot say it over until it is really over.
That's, if there's any one lesson that I've learned from this story, it's just that story of never giving up. You know, look at what he's endured, and he's still here on his feet. It's just amazing. So, Kingsley, just tell me a little bit how your life is right now. What are you doing? How are you coping? How are you making ends meet?
Right now, because you know, I have to modify my lifestyle, and as a matter of fact, I'm still going through like the grieving process of, you know, losing like a part of me. You know, when I came from the hospital, I thought I felt like a half human being. How can I be walking around with all these things not in my body? And how am I going to survive, you know, because I don't have the energy and the strength to do the things that I used to do. But I'm trying to accept it, the fact that, okay, this is it, you have life. What are you going to do to prolong your life? Because it feels like I'm living on the edge now.
Right.
You know, anything that happens, you know, it's going to trigger something, and you might not have a third chance because you've already had a second chance at life. So I used to work working like 5 days a week. Right now, I mean, I want to work out like 2, so I can, you know, I don't have to do all the things I used to do.
Right.
Yeah, and stuff. So my diet has also changed because eating, like, you know, I mean, solid foods. It's now, you know, I can't eat more starchy foods.
Right.
No alcohol. Of course, that's not how it's supposed to be. You know, because you don't want to put your life on the verge. So it's not.
This
easy.
is, you know, this is unbelievable, and, you know, such a devastating story you've shared with us here. It's really heartbreaking to hear what happened to you. And ladies and gentlemen at home, our viewers all across the globe, if you're watching and listening in from wherever, this is Kingsley Ampong Adu, and you've heard the story. We have some, you know, some pictures that he's shared with us from what happened to him, the wounds, and we're going to spare you and not share those on the screen. But if you saw what happened to him, you would be obviously heartbroken. But just as you've heard the story, if you're touched in any way, if you feel like there's any information out there that could be beneficial to this young man, you know, from a crime standpoint, from a legal standpoint, from social standpoint, economic standpoint, if there's any resource out there, government, private sector, non-profit, if there's anything that this man could access to just help make things a little easy, please reach out to us via email, heroescablenetwork@gmail.com. You can also call in, text, WhatsApp 214-997-3383. And don't forget, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. If there's anything, please reach out to us and share with us any information that you may have. And I must also add this: if you feel touched and want to support him in any shape or form, financially, please don't feel held back at all. Reach out to us here at HCN, and we'll put you in contact. Nana J, what do you think about all this?
So it takes me back to how this whole thing started, right? He having that intent to want to do that, everybody does it. You have sold something on eBay, on what's that, Craigslist, and OfferUp and all that. It's something that we all do. When we don't have need for something that we have in our closet,
we want to get rid of it.
We want to get rid of it. And this is how his whole predicament came. My question to him would be, what kind of advice would you want to give to us, everybody out there, those at home, those watching us? What should we be more careful of? How do we proceed from now?
My number one advice right now is don't, if it's possible, don't use those apps, those that you want to sell your stuff. And if you really want to do it, please meet up in a police station. Meet up at a very public place. Don't meet anybody up in a place where you will not feel secure that if anything happens, you know, because even if anything happens, somebody will be readily available to help you. Because if the person who called the paramedics for me, if they had delayed a minute, I'm not sure I would have been here by now. And there was nobody around. So my number one advice that please, if you can avoid doing that, avoid it. But if you need to, please meet up in a public place.
So by public place, you're referring to maybe, let's just say like anywhere close to a police station?
Anywhere close, not anywhere at a police station. You can meet it right in front at a police station. You can meet it in front of a Walmart, or you can,
a place where you think there was an active surveillance camera.
Yes,
of course. I mean, if you had to endure what happened to this man, I will meet you in the police detective's office.
Well, actually, you know what I would do? I would go to his first advice. I wouldn't even sell anything at all.
Right. But you know what happens. We all at some point have to do this, and if you ever feel the need, thank you for sharing that advice to our listeners and viewers. If you've heard it from Kingsley, be extra careful. If you ever have to get rid of anything of yours, please be cautious. Do it at extremely safe places, at the police station, as he says, or make sure it's a public place with a lot of surveillance coverage.
But the other thing too is that sometimes the items might be too small, so then it's easier for you to move it. But in cases where let's say you want to sell your whole couch, or something, you cannot. Then maybe you might also look at another strategy. But
regardless,
in this case,
your message to us is be careful. And Kingsley, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for gathering the courage to come out to tell your story. I can only imagine the amount of courage it takes for a young man to come out and tell such a tough to tell story. And we're thankful to God for preserving your life. Once you have life, you have hope.
You have everything.
And viewers out there, if you want to get in contact with any information that could be beneficial, don't feel held back. And thank you for watching. This is the Dot Stream on Heroes Cable Network. We'll see you next time.
So we are right here at the end South Market here on Arkansas Lane, and the address is 2905 Arkansas Lane, Grand Prairie, Texas, and Suite 103A. We're gonna go in and see all the products available here in the South Market. Come along. Green plantains, and we have some yams. The yams are on sale. If you yams at this time of the year, just come to a South Market and they are on sale. We also have that's cassava. If you want fufu, cassava, the plantain and the cassava are good for fufu. There's some onions here, some bell peppers, tomatoes. We got some tomatoes here, and ginger. This is cocoyam, right? It's cocoyam. Wow, I haven't eaten cocoyam in a while, so I'm gonna try some. Right here, the canned goods. There's some sardines, different types of sardines. In the refrigerator are different types of fish, smoked and fresh. Smoked fresh, they're all right here. So we have a variety of palm oil right here, variety of different types, and different brands. Also have this palm fruit. It's used in making soup. If you come from Ghana, Africa, West Africa, Liberia, Cameroon, you know what. Over there we have different types of spices as well. There's some spices here. See some sponge, African sponge. If you come from Africa, you know what I'm talking about. You want to take some nuts, and we got some kenkey. Wow, there's a variety of kenkey here, different types of kenkey. So Asafo got it all. Asafo got it all. Anything you want, just come right to Asafo. And there's Gary right here. Our friends from Nigeria, yeah, we know you want some eba. We got a variety of Gary here. And this is the black pepper called shito, popularly called shito. Shito from Ghana.
HCN.